This podcast is brought to you by Meteorate.
Welcome to the Two Cripples, One Pair of Legs podcast, where every fortnight, your hosts, Adam Shepherd and Natasha Price, take a long, hard look at the world through the eyes of two people who believe in grabbing life by the balls and squeezing tighter than Borat in a mankini. The good, the bad, the often cringeworthy, but most importantly, the hilarity that can, and often does, ensue. If you're looking for fluffy sunshine and rainbows, My Little Pony meets Care Bears type of purity, you've probably come to the wrong place. If you're after good conversation, warped humour, quick wit, a touch of sarcasm, two proud people with disabilities with the no holes barred, leave no stump unturned outlook on life, welcome home.
Hi.
Hello there, how are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. How are you?
Pretty awesome.
That didn't sound too convincing.
Didn't it? Oh, look, the sun is shining, my bum is pointing to the ground. What else is there?
Well, this is true. It's a beautiful day outside.
Yes.
Although
Yeah.
we've got some shitty weather coming for the weekend.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Oh, I know, which is interesting because I'm pushing a marathon on Sunday. So
and I'm pushing 10Ks, but
yeah. Hey, but you can cope in the rain in a day chair. Try doing that in a race chair. Not quite so easy doing those hills.
How is it that the pond doesn't cope in wet weather?
No, I don't cope in a race chair in going down big ass hills in that weather. It's not fun, but yeah, exactly. Carbon fiber and non-gripping gloves are not ideal, but there you go.
I reckon I might hook my GoPro up to your chair just so I can, I can bear witness.
So you can catch me flying off the edge of the bridge?
Yes.
And ending up in the Brisbane River.
I mean, I shouldn't speak because I had a stack this week.
Yeah, you did.
I had a stack this week
God,
again.
yeah.
I've had two stacks in like 2 weeks.
But I have to say, it's the funniest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. It was like a perfect dismount and land. It was like some kind of gymnastics professional. It was just wonderful.
I moonlight as a professional gymnast.
Yeah, of course, obviously.
Yes.
I've seen you doing gymnastics in the gym.
Yeah, and ain't nobody want to say that.
You certainly replicate Tarzan well, that's all I'm saying.
I can't even do that because I'm like deep,
Too deep.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Speaking of, I was going to say speaking of Tarzan, not really. We were zombies the other day.
We were zombies. That was fun. That was epic.
Oh,
we went and did a photo shoot on Bribey Island, which is an island just off Brisbane here, and oh my freaking God, how much fun was that? Oh, the funniest thing was what happened afterwards though. So we had special effects makeup artists come and do our makeup for us, dressed us up as zombies, which worked particularly well with your missing legs.
I know, how good it was. It was like it was meant to be. It was my calling.
It was fantastic fun. Yeah. But afterwards we desperately needed to rush to the toilet, and as we were on an abandoned road, we were like, oh, okay, we'll pop to the shopping centre across the road, still made up. And I'm sat by the disabled bathroom waiting for you, and this woman's rushed up to me and she's like, oh my God, are you okay? What's happened to you? Do you need help? And I'm like, I should have come up with some story because that would have been
explain
funny.
The context. We had like a fake. You had like a bite wound on your neck.
I did, like covered in blood.
And I had rotting flesh down the side of my face.
And we were black. We was black as anything. It was great fun. But I think I freaked that poor woman out.
It was the one time. It was the one time I actually was thinking it would be cool to be pulled over by the cops.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be funny.
And I mean, we were an hour and a half, 2 hours from home, so there was every possibility the way I drive. But
yeah, this is true.
Really. I'm a good driver.
Oh, you reckon?
I haven't managed to kill us yet.
Not quite.
That's a good thing. Hey, should we get into things?
Say hi to our wonderful guest here.
Oh, cool. Can I hit the button?
Go on, do it.
Oh, I'm going to hit the button. The water cooler. Okay, so just to explain, the water cooler.
We're not just trying to make you go to the toilet, Rach.
The water cooler. The water cooler is our interview segment where we get amazing people in and have a chat. And yeah.
And
it's
the
like-
water cooler concept is, we're all chatting around the water cooler in an office kind of thing. But every time we both hear that intro, we want to go to the toilet.
That's why we both.
Lucky I just went.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
both
know,
go
right?
before.
So I'm going to introduce you to Rachel Condos-Field here. She is the CEO and founding director of the Wattle Nest Pty Ltd, a first-of-its-kind organisation investing in athletes to build stronger, healthier, more inclusive communities. She has 20-plus year career with an ASX 50 listed entity holding executive positions and directorships across financial services, sports, entertainment, and not-for-profit sectors. She is the host of a TV series For the Glory, an athlete empowerment production sharing stories of strength and inspiration with the nation. Rachel is a true connector. Rachel?
I'll go with that.
Sure.
Now we're changing the names of our guests.
Hey,
Jeez.
Rachel, we're trying to be inclusive. Rachel is a true connector who is most passionate about driving positive social change where things just aren't right. I love that.
How cool is it?
That's very,
Thank
very,
you. That's
very
a very
Welcome.
impressive intro. Thank you. I feel so privileged to be here.
Look, it's now 2 pair of legs and
and no,
And 3 cripples.
yeah.
3 cripple.
I think
Three-
I've stacked it just as many times
Oh,
as you
cool.
have.
All
So
right.
it's all right.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
It was an impressive effort. I got to admit, looking back on my
On your gymnastics.
On my
I
gymnastics.
honest to God, wish I had a video recording of that because it's honestly one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I've grabbed the back of your chair to try and save you when you've just catapulted.
It was the middle of Southport, so there's every chance that there was probably.
Yeah,
some-
I
footage
actually
somewhere.
did the CEO wheelchair challenge last year.
Oh,
and
did
I
you?
have to say that those ramps were not made with people.
No.
By people with a wheelchair because
God, no.
I went up pushing, and you just start flipping backwards, and I stacked it sideways.
Yeah, it's funny when you don't use a wheelchair, you don't realize just how accessible things can be
Yeah.
sometimes.
I couldn't
but,
reach anything in
yeah.
the supermarket. I wanted the salad. I ended up with yogurt just because I couldn't reach.
The stupidest thing about this was it was like where 2 parts of pavement join, and it was a little crack in the about this big,
Tiniest
which
little
is not
crack.
something that I would come unstuck on, but on this particular occasion,
You know what
I
it is,
stack it
though?
even when I'm in my shoes. So walking to the races the other week, just asked my husband. I
All right.
missed the pavement and fell straight to the ground. So.
oh no,
I
and I
hope
hadn't been
you-
drinking.
Oh, yeah. I hope your clothes are okay.
They're a little ruined.
Oh, no.
no.
Heels are a
Gutted.
little wobbly. But
Oh, well, have a few drinks. You'll forget about it. Do you have the questions?
Ooh.
Oh, no, I do on here.
You have the questions.
I know. Usually you have it on your phone. That's why I got confused.
I know, but you've actually brought your iPad this time, so
Go me.
I know. Oh, excellent. So,
We have got some questions prepared. That's what we do. Prepare a few and just see where the conversation takes us. So it'll be fun.
to kick off, what was your inspiration behind starting the Wattle Nest? Was it through personal experience that you've had, or people that you knew, or?
yeah, so believe it or not, I always actually wanted to be an Olympian, but by the time I was 14, I realised I was never going to make it. I was a competitive swimmer and grew up in a country town in Victoria and was getting gold medals every week, moved up to Brisbane and came second at the school competition and realised, okay, there's a bit of a different competition up here. But no, I spent 20 years of my career in financial services, and I've also done a lot of community work through some disadvantaged communities in Nepal. And through the 2 experiences combined, I naturally became a bit of a go-to point for some athletes that had been prematurely jumped from teams or ended up in a world of depression where they didn't really have a support network outside of sport and didn't really know how to write a CV or connect. And it was just through those interactions I started hearing more and more stories from elite athletes and started becoming quite aware that what many Australians think is a glamorous lifestyle funded by tax-paying dollars is not the case.
Is not
Yeah.
the case,
And I transitioned out of corporate world into sports during COVID, and decided at the end of my first year in professional sports I was going to go hang up my boots and do something that could really make an impact and kind of disrupt the funding model in Australia and give some athletes a bit of a helping hand, but more importantly, a platform for them to share their stories and bring community along the journey.
You know, it's amazing. We're fortunate to know a runner who's a trail runner and ultra marathon runner, and she's represented Australia on numerous occasions at World Championships and all that sort of thing. And I was really surprised. The whole thing is self-funded. There's no funding there for that sport whatsoever.
It's unbelievable. Even yesterday I was with a lovely athlete, Sarah Blizzard. She's transitioned from athletics into bobsleigh.
Oh, cool.
So you can imagine the lack of funds available and the awareness for our Winter Olympians.
We know somebody else who's done exactly the same thing. Desi, she's gone from athletics to bobsleigh as well. It's crazy the complete lack of funding there is for so many different sports of people that are representing this country and representing their states at an elite level. It's that you've got to have such a passion for sport to actually be able to stay in it. It's not like team sports where they're so often funded and they're paying players professionally. It can be very, very different and very difficult. So
very difficult.
And an organisation about the Wattle Nest is really important.
It's not just difficult for them. There's a whole support network around them. Their parents, their family, their friends. They've all made so many sacrifices to make their dreams possible. And the reality is only 1 in 500,000 make it. So the problem we have in Australia is 70% of our talent drop out at the age of 17.
Wow.
When they start thinking, oh, shivers, are mum and dad going to be in a position to support me? Am I going to make it? Do I go and get a real job? Can I afford to do this?
Hang on, just before you carry on, just take note of the time. Can you move your chair forward just a little bit because I can hear the sound dropping out every now and again? Perfect.
I'm just going to write that down real quick.
Yeah, sorry. I can hear the
Is
quality.
this better?
Yeah,
Perfect.
Yeah, it's all right. It's just when the head's moving.
When I'm talking, when I'm moving.
So it's fine at that being that close, but sometimes when you're further away. All right, cool. Got it?
We're
all
good.
right.
Because the other thing you touched on there, and we sort of know a couple of athletes who've been professional athletes their entire lives, and that's all they've ever known from, school.
Yeah.
And that's all and that's the life that they were thrust into, and now they're in their their 30s or their 40s, and all that's by and by and done. They're retired from sport, but there's no support there. Like there's literally nothing there for them to teach them other skills or
You're so very right. And when you look at an athlete, they're so confident. Sport is really, really good for confidence building and self-motivation. But when you remove them from something they're comfortable with, you see that confidence starts to disappear. And I honestly believe that all of our athletes have transferable skills into the workforce, and it's up to us to help them transfer those skills so that we can learn from them as much as they can learn from us.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we often see these days, retired athletes they end up going into commentating and stuff like that. So
you're right.
Which is great because they've obviously got the knowledge there as well.
But there's not a job for everybody, is there?
Exactly.
So very competitive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
So you say you're a swimmer, and so where does your passion? You picked sport as for the Wattle Nest, and to support. Where did that passion come from? Yeah,
my passion is really around building stronger, healthier communities, and I've seen the ability sport has and that power sport has to connect everybody. When you play sport, there are no barriers. You can bring people from all walks of life together, and I just love that. And I think there's nothing else that does that like sport.
It's the one true connector.
It's so true.
Universally, no matter what part of the world you go to. I've been fortunate enough to visit many disadvantaged communities across the world, and as soon as you bring out a soccer ball or a cricket ball, everyone from the villages come and flock, and no matter, even if there's a language barrier or an age difference or cultural differences, sport just unites.
Yeah. It's very, very true.
Yeah, it's so true, so true. The Wattle Nest, how did you come up with the name?
Yes, so it's a really good question. The truth is we were looking for a potential farm stay, homestay kind of lodge that we couldn't afford, and we had a naming competition in the car, and as a family we said, if we did get it, we're going to call it the Wattle Nest. Then as I was dreaming of this platform to empower athletes and make some real social change, I thought, you know what? I'm going to go with the wattle nest. Wattle being gold, and all of our athletes are striving to be the best possible version of themselves on and off the field and getting that gold medal, and wattle being an Australian flower.
Great.
And nest, I believe I'm nurturing talent and helping nest the next generation. So
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love the concept behind that. What a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd sort of been thinking about it, and I was sort of thinking along similar lines. But
And do you know what? I love about the name is it stands out. It's unusual and not necessarily something you'd automatically relate to what you're doing, but because of that, the difference in it makes it stand out above other things. I really
that's
like
good
that.
to hear, because it is a little bit unique, a bit different.
It is. And some it's not always the best thing, but I think in this case it actually works really well. And I love the to me, it kind of speaks to empowerment. So, which is
good. I've got to get
exactly
my
what
dad
you're
to
doing.
stop saying the wattle tree.
the wattle
It's
tree.
the wattle nest, everyone. Wattle nest.
I'm pretty sure everyone's dad would be.
Hey, look, my dad, he calls my racing wheelchair a bike, and I'm like, Dad, I can't get on a bike. Trust me, I'm not riding anywhere. And that's after how long have I been in the sport? 5 years now.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. It's dads.
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 Oh yeah, we'll talk a bit about my dad later.
Oh, can we?
Oh God.
So the wattle nest has really taken on, a life of its own. Have a chat. Talk to us about, sort of numbers that you were originally thinking, because I know we've had a little bit of a conversation about, what you started out thinking was going to be the case and to where it is now.
What it's morphed into.
I'm
Yeah.
absolutely blown away with the momentum and the acceleration it's had in such a short period of time. So initially, my honest goal was to just step away from the workforce for 6 months, set up this program where I could help 32 athletes leading into 2032, feel like I've done something really good, be proud, make a difference, and change the life of 32 athletes. It's only been 6-7 months, and I've now got 96 athletes. And
Just a bit of an upgrade.
And I don't think I'll be transitioning back to the workforce. I think this will be my focus, and really, really enjoying it. Really proud of the impact we've made, and really, really delighted and blessed to have so many supportive partners. And a big shout out to Horizon, who took a risk in early days coming on as our major foundation partner.
Yeah,
Great,
that's
yeah.
awesome. So I had a question in my head now, and it's completely gone.
That happens to you.
It happens to me constantly. I have like the memory of a goldfish. It's so
That's
bad.
all right.
Carry on asking questions because it will come back to me.
The whole concept of what you're doing is bloody fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
It's so needed. And without being, not being blunt, but what made you believe that you were the right person to make this happen?
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that I'm sure it wasn't happening before anyway.
No, I think, to be honest, it's one of its kind. It's unique, and I'm very proud to be the first organisation in Australia to be doing anything like this. When I'm the type of person, if I see a challenge, I rise, and if someone tells me something's not possible or that there's other funding models and mechanisms in place, I will go, and you know what, I'll prove you wrong, and we will make a change. So I think the fact that I've got so many athletes in the program now, and of those 96, I've probably proactively reached out to 7 or 8, and the rest have found me. I think that just proves that there's something broken and something not
100%.
working with the current model, and I'm just a bit of a challenge taker, and I know that if I put my heart and mind to something, we will make a positive difference.
That's really cool.
Awesome. So this is what my question was.
Oh,
I
good.
remembered. Tell us a little bit about some of the challenges you've encountered with getting the wattle nest up and running, and with its continued development.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I've learnt more in 3 months than I have in 3 years. It's sometimes you do learn from some of those mistakes.
100%.
I think the biggest challenge, the biggest opportunity is for the storytelling piece. I feel like the more our athletes are celebrated and we share their successes and they meet people, the more Australian businesses are going to get behind the cause. Too many Australians just think that all of our athletes are getting paid a $400,000 salary travelling the world, and it's just not the case at all. And I think when they start building a personal relationship and connection with an athlete, you really need to get the hearts and minds of the project working, and rather than just faces on websites.
It sounds very familiar to the way we we do things in a lot of ways,
Yeah,
isn't it? You know,
100%.
about hearts and minds,
100%.
and really having that connection with people.
And I think that's why we've identified a lot with what you're doing at the Wattle Nest, because it very much speaks to what we do and with our organisation. And for transparency's sake, I will mention here that I'm a Wattle Nest athlete
and
as
I'm
well.
very proud to have you in the community.
Thank you. But look, we just wanted to share your story and talk a little bit about what you're doing, because it really is needed and warranted. And, we want to get the message out, that as much as I'm an athlete with the Wattle Nest, I want to do what I can to help everybody that's part of this program, because it's such a shame that people just aren't getting the help and the support that they need.
And affordability just shouldn't be a barrier for sport. We all know the social benefits sport brings to society. We all know the impact of sport and reducing mental health issues and, just that overall health piece and connectivity. We've got an ageing population that are starting to feel more and more isolated. We've got vulnerable youth that are taking the wrong pathways. Sport has the ability not to fix it, but to help solve some of these issues and mitigate some of the society risks. So I think it's a really, really opportune time. We've got really key milestone events coming to Australia with the Commonwealth Games in regional Victoria. We've got the Olympic and Paralympic Games here in Brisbane in 2032. So there's no better time for Australians to start investing in sport.
100%. So have you found that there's been a lot of barriers to organisations building partnerships with athletes that you're involved with?
I think I've been pleasantly surprised with how well received it's been.
Brilliant.
I think I provide a bit of a solution where it's been tough for corporates to sponsor individual athletes in the past, where there's like who's doing the due diligence, how do we pick an athlete, whereas the Wattle Nest gives them an opportunity to partner with the Wattle Nest where funds can help multiple individual athletes. So it takes away that complexity, and
which is fantastic,
which is amazing, because I'll be honest, I've been involved in sport for a very, very long time, and I discovered something yesterday that kind of blew me away. And we were talking about athletes and stuff and funding and whatnot before, and I discovered that funding can be provided for a particular sport, but the overarching organisation, as is the case in our country, don't necessarily have to pass on that funding to that sport.
And you'll see, I'm glad that athletes are starting to have a voice, because I think in the past there was a bit of fear for them to say, oh gosh, we need money, we're not getting looked after, because they didn't want to lose their spot on the team, they didn't want to come across as being ungrateful. And now you're hearing just some retired athletes share some of their stories, and you've got people like me speaking on behalf of the athlete as well, which is giving them a voice. But you'll see more and more articles in the newspaper lately that about paying to pay. A lot of our less celebrated sports have actually been told, if you want to go to Paris, you're paying your own way.
Absolutely.
It's we certainly in para sports encounter those kind of issues constantly. Getting picked for teams, getting ourselves to competition. It's all self-funded, and it's hard for able-bodied athletes, but in para sports I think it's even more difficult, because there just really is a lack of support and financial
awareness
and awareness out there.
I think also with the para athletes, a lot of people think that your wheelchairs and things are covered by NDIS, but they don't realise to get the top of the range racing or high performance chair needed for particular sports, that comes at another $30,000 odd dollars out of pocket. That is not funded. So.
And it's not, and coming from a person that had to pay for my own chair as well. Once you've paid for your chair, you have no money left to actually compete. So and people don't understand the kind of costs involved in running that kind of equipment, the maintenance and all the extra little bits and pieces that you have to provide for. If you're a runner, all you have to worry about is a pair of running shoes. If you're a wheelchair racer, you've got to worry about your $20,000 chair and
they go missing. I was with a para swimmer the other day, a para wheelchair player the other day, who told me that in Dubai her wheelchair just went missing. No one could find it. And they met her at the airport with a wheelchair and said, oh, you can use this. But it was one you had to have someone push around, and she had no one with her, and she's
Yeah,
well, I can't push it, so but it went missing. Her $25,000 wheelchair.
We were traveling in Japan. I went to Japan to do the Oita International Wheelchair Marathon last year, which was an incredible experience. But on the flight on the way there, somebody came up to us and said, we'd just done the transfer from the internal flight from the Gold Coast to Sydney, and we've just got on the plane to Japan. And they've gone, look, we've lost some of your luggage, we think, and we're like, oh, okay, luggage, all right, cool, fair enough. They said, we'll get it to you in a couple of days. Right, okay, cool. What luggage is it? Oh, your wheelchair. One of your wheelchairs. We're like, yeah, we can't actually move without a wheelchair. You do realise that is our legs, right?
I literally have none.
Yeah, it's just. But yes, it's something that happens constantly, and I despise travelling on a plane with my racing chair because I'm so incredibly nervous. I can't afford to get a container for my chair, so I just package it up in a cardboard box, and quite often that box comes ripped to shreds. And when it's a full carbon fibre chair, there is a lot of nerves that comes with that. But it is a constant concern for para athletes.
And people don't realise it's not just one trip a year we're talking about here either. To actually get the world ranking and the qualification points, there are multiple trips and multiple flights.
And also in a country like Australia, the majority of things are overseas. You have to travel overseas to be able to be competitive on a world stage, and that of course comes with a lot of extra expense. If you're in Europe, it's quite easy and very, very cheap to travel around. Here it's a lot different.
And when you look at how well Australians are doing despite the funding,
stage, it's incredible.
And then you look at the people that are getting the silvers and bronze up against us, and they are fully funded. Imagine what we could do as a nation
100%.
if we had the funding and the support behind us.
There's as a country, there is so much pride behind our sporting achievements, behind our athletes, both in able-bodied sports and para sports. And it's such a shame because that we don't get more funding and more support. As I think that a lot of funding dies out as soon as you reach 18 when you become an adult, which is really, really sad. I know that as a para athlete, there are so many grants available to the younger, under 20s, but as soon as you reach that age, you're kind of thrown to the wolves a little bit. And it's a shame because there's so many athletes and this country that's missing out on so many opportunities because of that, and all the things that come along with that. All the on a world stage, what Australia becomes as a POM, as a person from the UK living in the UK. I remember looking at Sydney Olympics and just thinking, wow, Australia, they are the pinnacle of sport, putting on this incredible games, winning all these medals, and just it's incredible, especially given their tiny little population. And it makes me sad coming here and realizing that there's just not the support and the financial aid behind it. And once again, why it's so important what you're doing with the Wattle Nest. So
thank you.
Just tell us a little bit about how the Wattle Nest itself works, what you're hoping to achieve.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to be able to provide some level of financial support to every athlete that comes into the community. And in order to be able to do that, I need corporate partnerships. Mm-hmm. So I'm really proud to have provided financial support to 16 athletes, but that's 16 out of 96. So we've got a lot of work to do in order for corporate Australia to play catch up. Mm-hmm. There's opportunities for businesses to come on board in a partnership capacity, be part of an athlete's journey, embrace team engagement, employee opportunities and things like that as well. We've also got an approved affiliation with the Australian Sports Foundation, so there's an opportunity for people to make donations that can be distributed through. Some of the funds that the Wattle Nest receives goes back into broadcasting opportunities so that we can help share the stories of these athletes as well and provide them a platform where they become a known brand. And also we invest in networking events so that athletes have some corporate support or familiar faces around them for when they are thinking about what might be next.
Yeah, awesome.
So if businesses or people want to partner with the Wattle Nest, how can they go about that?
They can go to the website wattlnest.com.au.
For everyone watching the live now, it should be up on your screen and will be posted on the YouTube live as well.
Excellent.
There you go, like this. Or you can email me directly at rachelcondos@wattlnest.com.au.
Awesome.
Excellent. Okay, fantastic. Where do you see the Wattle Nest in 10 years' time?
It's $1 million question, and it changes every time I have the conversation. I watch this space. I honestly think that we're going to be Australia's largest support community for athletes. I think we're going to, bring in a new funding model for Australia, and I honestly think that this is transforming the way we have done things in the past. Very, very disruptive, but at the same time very innovative and very, very well received from the athlete community. And at the end of the day, my number one stakeholder group is the athlete community, and I'm here to work on models that work for them. There is something wrong with the way our athletes are incentivised and remunerated, and it's time to do something about it.
Sorry.
I was going to say, when you see how much an elite athlete who's aiming for the Olympics or the Paralympics or World Championships or Commonwealth Games, how much they train, it is a full-time job. Like,
most of my athletes are training on average 36 hours a week. Then they're struggling to hold casual part-time work because of their competition schedule. They're going overseas, coming back, and someone else has gotten their job. And then a lot of them are studying on the side as well. So it's tough. I'm going to use a young girl, Karina Haggerty, as an example, and I'll throw a bit of a trivia quiz to you.
Excellent.
She is the world champion trampolinist in mini double.
And I saw a video of her.
You saw a video.
Fantastic.
She's incredible.
Yes, incredible.
So she was in Bulgaria last year, came back with the gold medal. She's been training since she was a kid, relentlessly. It's the first time in her career she has got a cent from sport. Guess how much she won for winning the gold medal? World champion.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't a huge amount.
No.
Give me a figure.
I don't know. Like I've seen people win, like $1,000 for something like that, which blows my mind.
She won $750. So I think I think it's fair to say it probably covered the cost of the leotard she competed in.
Yeah.
But 100% of her journey has been 100% self-funded. And that's just one example in the community. Now for her to qualify for the Paris Games, I think it's 8 or 9 international events she's got to self-fund in order to be eligible to qualify.
It's just, it really is crazy. I mean, I certainly know with the Olympics and the Paralympics, they're now trying to look at pay parity between both. But in the competitions leading up to that, it's talking from my own personal experience, if you wanted to take part in, say, London Marathon, for example, or any of the major marathons, until this year, the able-bodied athletes were winning tens of thousands, or certainly tens of thousands and thousands of dollars if they came in the top 5 athletes, whereas the disabled athletes are coming away with $100, $200, $300, and our costs
your costs are
hell of a lot more. So there needs to be this, parity between all athletes and all sports, because yes, whilst I understand that a lot of it's to do with TV rights and advertising, all that kind of stuff, at the same time, if these smaller sports don't start to get funding coming in and recognition, then things are never going to build for everybody.
My personal view is, and this is pretty controversial, but I think in Australia, if you are a professional athlete earning more than $250,000 a year, you should have a clause in your contract that puts $1,000, which is nothing in the scheme of it, aside. You pull that fund, and that also goes to funding our elite sports.
I love that. That's actually a really good idea. Coming from a sporting family, my dad was a professional soccer player in the UK, and I think that if each of those guys who were earning millions and millions in the Premier League were to put some money by to help the grassroots level athletes and to help the emerging athletes and the developing athletes, things would be very, very different worldwide.
Well, how about we take you? I'm going to organise this. We go into a change room for one of these professional sporting clubs. We share your story, and then do an ask at the end, and let's see who comes to the party.
I'm up for that.
Let's do it.
100%. Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
100%.
All right, so last couple of questions.
Yes.
What does inclusion mean to you?
Yeah, I think inclusion means there's like when we talk about inclusion, I think we've failed at inclusion.
Yeah.
I just think it should be part of society where everyone feels welcome and safe. Yeah. I am guilty of it until I was maybe 5 years ago. I had never really interacted with anyone with a disability, not by choice. They just were not in my circle.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, and when there is that divide and when you don't have the community, mixing, you're going to have a lot of people that are in those shoes, and you automatically have an unconscious bias. It's not intentional. It's just
that's just
judgmental.
something that everybody has.
And an example, I was blown away when I did the wheelchair challenge. I had people coming up praying for me, and I was like, and it gave me a real reality, like a bit
Welcome
of a check-in on how the barriers in place and people's perception, and they were all feeling sorry for me, and I was like, oh, this is not really how I thought our disabled community were treated, and it was a bit of an eye-opener. So I would like to see, and I think we've come a long way. I look at my daughters, and their friendship circles are so diverse and mixed. So they bat an eyelid. It's just part of society. Yeah. So I do think we've come a long, long way.
Yeah. Definitely. I think, and you're right. What you're saying about inclusion, because there's still a need to talk about it, because there's this lack of awareness and a lack of inclusion, not through people choosing to be that way, but once again through unconscious bias, and that's entirely why we do everything we do, because we're just trying to show that disability is normal and it's part of life.
And there's a bit of a fear as well from people that are trying to embrace inclusion. They don't really know just to be normal. They feel like they need to be politically correct or not offend. And there's like this
to the
bit,
two Cripples
there's a little bit of awkwardness there.
Yes, and, so true. It's so true.
And it just needs to be natural and comfortable. But we've got a little bit of, as I said, the younger generation I think are doing it quite well, but
they are.
The older generation still don't really. They feel like they need to be different.
It's true, and you don't. We're just like anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I once again forgotten what I was going to say, but there you go.
Would you mind scrolling up on the iPad there? So
also, just going back to the wheelchair challenge, I remember because we had to spend 24 hours in it, and even though I had a sign on the back to say this is for charity and what it was. I remember my husband wheeled me into the restaurant and no one would take my order. They were all asking everybody else what I was having.
And yes, it's the constant bane of our lives.
Well, it happens all the time. Yeah, I go out with my wife and they'll talk to her and I'm like,
hi, I'm here.
Believe me, if you get me talking, I won't stop.
The funniest thing is if he and I go out somewhere together, people will always talk to Adam before me. Yeah. So if you're out with exactly. Yeah, there's some definitely some intersectionality there. But if you're out with Christy, then she always gets spoken to. But if we're together, I get ignored. Yeah. Which so is a different experience for you. Oh my
That's
God,
why he takes you out so much.
Because he wants to be spoken to. Please talk to me.
I remember specifically, I went with you. You needed a new computer screen, and we went to a local large electronics store.
Yes.
Who shall not be named. Because I'm not like that.
But you guys, if you're Australian, you know who we're talking about.
And you were asking the questions, but then he was turning to me to talk. The sales guy was talking to me, and I called him out. I'm like, mate, don't talk to me. I know nothing about this stuff. It's all about her.
Yeah. I'm not backwards in coming forwards. I'm just like, dude, I'm here. Talk to me here. But yes, it's incredible how often that happens.
Cool. I think that's
everything.
Oh, that's been so much fun, guys. I've really enjoyed it.
Anything else that you want to say about what you're doing, and about where your passion from this comes, and why you so desperately want to do this?
I just think we need to make change, and if I don't do it, no one else is going to do it. You need someone to be first and take that first step forward 100%. Before others can follow. So it's risky, it's courageous, it's brave, it could be silly, and and
Yeah, but
unsafe, but
you
someone
never
needs
know.
to take it.
Yeah, you never know unless you give it a go, and that's the thing. Challenges like this are important in order for the world to move forward. So awesome work. Awesome.
Oh, thank you.
There's enough people that sit around and go, oh, it would be really good if we could do this, or really good if we could do that, and nothing ever actually happens. So the fact that you're actually out there and putting it all online and doing it is bloody fantastic. So kudos to you.
Thank you so much. And it's just so wonderful to have so many supportive people around, and the work that you two are doing is absolutely mind-blowing.
Thank you.
And I feel honoured to have you in association with the Waddle Nest. So thank you.
Thank you for coming on today.
My pleasure.
And we'll catch up soon.
Awesome. Thank you. It's been fun, guys. Thank you.
Like two cripples using a beach towel to skydive, this could go anywhere. Welcome to the soapbox session.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I still think I get such a vision in my head when I think of, skydiving, trying to skydive with a beach towel. Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting vision, that's for sure.
I'm a visionary kind of guy.
Yes, you are.
And I conjure up things in my head, and
yes, you do.
Yeah. Borat and Mankini is definitely not one of them.
Squeezing his balls tightly into a Mankini. Let's not go with that. So, soapbox session.
Soapbox.
SBS.
This is a rant that I've had.
This is a rant you constantly have, and it's ongoing, and I can't believe we haven't spoken about this yet.
I know, and it kind of makes me feel old in a few ways.
That's because you kind of are.
You're older than me.
Yeah, I know, but I look younger, so.
Whatever.
Hey, your son constantly tells me that. Tashi, you're young. Dad, you're old.
You're old.
Loser.
That's like you stop putting colour in your hair and let's see who's grayer.
I am not very grey. I'm very lucky. I've got my mum's genes, luckily enough.
I've got my dad's.
And your dad is as white as a.
He was very grey by the time he was my age. So. Sorry, Dad.
So anyway, we digress again.
Digress. So something that's very, very close to my heart and I'm very passionate about is music. I think the music, the world would be one fucked up place if we didn't have music.
Yes.
But you turn on the radio, or like we were today, you go into the gym, you turn on like a local radio station, and there's just no originality anymore.
No, that's kind of very true. So this topic of conversation today has come from the fact that we were in the gym this morning. We were it was just a short Wednesday workout. Our Wednesdays are kind of a bit of a recovery session. So we were only there 40 minutes. So the entire 40 minutes, every single song they played was a sample or a remix of an old classic song, you know. And there was everything from like Bob Marley to even 90s dance music that had been remixed to rap music that had been remixed. I enjoyed it all. It was actually really good music. But where's the originality, guys?
What I love is that you sit around and you watch all the millennials and all the younger people, bopping along thinking it's the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm like, mate, this song's twice as old as you are.
I tell you what's funniest is on a day when we're on the athletics.
What?
Just stop picking your legs.
I'm not picking my legs. I haven't got any fucking legs.
Picking your stumps in.
Not.
It's the funniest thing is when we're at the athletics track training and they like their 90s gangster rap, don't they?
Oh, it's
early
hilarious.
2000s 90s gangster rap.
The best part is then, and because most of them are samples from new music, bullshit. But you and I be singing along, or I'll bust out a bit of a rap, and then they'll look at you and go, "You're old as shit. How do you know this?"
What were we singing along to? It was Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah, everyone knows that's as old as shit. But
it's very, very true.
But that it just and Ed Sheeran actually put it, because we know Ed's recently been to court because
yes, he has. He was accused of plagiarizing music.
Yeah, and he basically said, and he proved he actually played. I believe he played in the court the same chord progression that was progression. I was trying to speak. That was
It's like, what word is that?
Chord progression that's in his song and the song he was being accused of plagiarizing. But then he also played like another 10 songs that were the exact same chord progression. And he's like, as far as chords are concerned, there's not finite number. There's not infinite numbers of chords that you can play.
There's only like
progressions.
8 or something, isn't there? It's not. It really isn't many.
So at some point, you're going to come across something that in some way resembles another song.
Yeah.
Whether it's a rip off or not is a whole nother
thing altogether.
But thankfully, he won that case because
He did.
you know I for one consider him a supremely talented.
Oh, he's
musician.
incredible. You should go see him live play.
You
Well, I know exactly what you're about to say.
don't make me pull out a hurdle.
Yeah.
You suck.
I know. Well, yeah, I do. I'm sorry.
You went and saw Ed without me.
I did. Well, hey, I went and saw him without you because I didn't actually know you then.
That's not a fucking excuse, Natasha. That is not an excuse.
Can I just say he is one incredibly talented dude. You hate me, don't you?
Yeah, I kind of do right now. So
Yeah.
we best move on, I think.
Yes.
But originality. It's just something that we seem to be, and probably for a good 10 years or so, I think we just seem to.
It's definitely been an ongoing thing for quite some time now.
It just seems to we lack
there's just a huge lack of new music with new ideas, and even you know how like fashions come back around.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that when like the clothing fashion is the 90s or the clothing fashion is the 80s or whatever, the music actually starts to sound like that era as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So like
yeah.
so much of our current music sounds like 90s music, and our fashion is very 90s at the moment.
Your fashion's always stayed the same because the stuff that you could fit into when you're 3, you could still fit into.
Yeah, I just read a post on Facebook, a memory that I wrote like 5 years ago, and I was really excited because I tried on an outfit that I'd worn on my 18th birthday party, and it still fit, and I can confirm that it still fits right now. And I've worn it a couple of times.
You're the only 40-something-year-old woman that I know that can go to a department store to buy clothes and go straight to the kids section.
I do. And I do. Do you know what? It's bloody cheaper doing it that way. I can buy 14-year-old clothes and they fit perfectly. So why the fuck shouldn't I?
Exactly. Well, I go to formal events and wear shorts.
Yeah, this is true. You save yourself on material there.
Yeah, I do.
Well, it's cheaper than buying long pants that are useless to you.
Yes. Anyway, that's
your soapbox for today. Just get some original ideas, people.
Kids, listen to the music. Check out the music you're listening to, and then you'll probably find about 25, 30 years ago it was out previously, so it's not original.
Yep.
Sorry to burst your bubble. All right, shall we go to? Let's go to Moron of the Day.
Yeah, let's go to Moron of the Day.
Oh, you want to go to? Moron? Kindness virus.
Kindness virus. Let's do kindness virus.
Okay.
The kindness virus.
That was like us the other day, like the zombies and stuff.
I know.
I'll post some photos on our socials a bit later
I'm
on.
going to use one of the photos from the zombie, so long as Mr. Luke Burls, who took the photos, allows us to, because for our social media for the Two Cripples, One Pair of Legs podcast, because it's fucking genius.
It is pretty cool.
Anyway, kindness virus today.
Yes.
I'm actually going to talk about something and surprise you a little bit here because.
Oh shit!
Yeah, no. Well, I know that you had plans to talk about something completely different here.
But you're throwing me a curveball. What are you doing?
I am throwing you a curveball here. So.
What are you doing?
I'm going to make you the subject of the kindness virus today.
Oh, what?
You're like, shit. What have I done?
I don't know.
So. I'm going to tell everyone a little story about a friend in need that you have helped in the past couple of days.
Yeah.
Do you know where I'm going with this now?
I do.
Yeah. So you have got a friend who you've known for a very long time, but you haven't seen and also haven't seen for a very long time. And
we've kept in touch.
You've kept in touch, but just on Facebook and stuff, yeah, mostly. And you've spoken to him recently and found out that he is in dire trouble.
He's not doing all that well.
Not doing very well. Poor guy has got, a few problems, some stuff going on in the background, and has recently found himself having to sleep on the streets.
Yep.
Yeah, so and most people will know that across Australia right now, certainly in the the southern half of the country, it's bloody cold at night.
Yeah, it is.
It's been a very, very cold end to autumn and start to winter, and so you found out last night that he was sleeping rough, yeah?
Yeah.
And this morning we were just happily talking away, and you were telling me that you'd actually paid for him to have some accommodation for the night.
Yeah, I got him a room last night because I thought, if he's the sort of guy that if he was if the situation was reversed, he would absolutely do the same thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's not even that. It was, we've known each other a very, very, very long time. He's probably one of my longest term friends, I guess.
Longest serving friends.
Longest serving, poor bastard. And I just think I was in a position to help him out a little bit.
Yeah.
And it meant that he got a good night's sleep in a warm place, and
we hear this morning that it's a good job because apparently it absolutely pissed it down.
Apparently, it was pissing down rain where he was.
Yeah,
So I was in like I say, I was fortunate that I'm in a position that I could help him out a little bit, and I did.
Yeah, look, I think that's wonderful because you're practicing what you preach.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, both of us are very much of the opinion that if you're in a position to help someone, you do what you can to help them.
Yep.
And I know you were reluctant to tell me about having done that.
Yeah,
and I, you're a humble kind of guy, and you tend to not shout things like this from the rooftops, which is why I was going to jump in and do this today. And that's why I'm so proud to know you. And that's
you.
And because you're a good person, and there are lots of people in this world that will not put their hands in their pockets and not and will say they will do stuff to help, but don't go out of their way to actually try and make that difference. And I think it's just kudos to you for doing that. And I really, really hope that it helped him, and that he's able to get back on his feet.
Yeah, me too.
It's just it's a shit situation for anyone to be in.
Yeah, it is. It's we, no matter who we are and what our background is and what our upbringing is, and we all fall on hard times.
We do.
And at some point we all need to, need to find the people around us and the people we can rely on. And, I'm just, like I said, I'm thankful that, I was in a position to be able to help him out. And, it's not something that, I could throw him thousands of dollars to help him out or whatever. But, for one night, he needed somewhere warm and, and dry, and I was able to do that.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he's very grateful.
So saying a verse that I absolutely, that's a saying that I absolutely love, and it's better to build a longer table than a taller fence. Yeah, and
very true.
I like to think I live my life by that, where I can.
You do, and whilst I constantly give you a hard time because it's so much fun.
Yeah, you do give me a lot of shit.
I actually think you're a really good human, so
thanks.
I don't say nice things about you very often, so just make sure you record this and keep
it
for
good
posterity.
The good news is that it's on the Facebook Live, and it's being recorded. So I'll get Ruby, our amazing producer,
to record that and then keep replaying it to me to remind me that I actually said something nice about you.
Yeah. We've got a few of those now, actually. But
I know. Hang on, when's the nice shit coming about me? Where's my praise?
I say plenty of nice shit about you.
You reckon?
But maybe we'll get it put on a button, I think.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Not.
Okay. Okay. So, more on the day.
Yeah. Anyway, good job, dude.
Thanks.
Good job, young fella.
Cheers.
Old bastard.
Yeah.
back to it.
Yeah, back to it.
Okay, moron of the day.
I hit the button. It's the moron of the day. What? I'm worried about where this is going.
No. I was going to make you the subject of moron of the day, but
you've just said nice shit about
me. I
me.
know. But actually, you ended up fully admitting what I was going to call you a moron for at the start of the show.
I did.
Your wonderful gymnastics fueled.
It was pretty impressive. I got to.
Oh, it was like you're going down like a very, very slight ramp, and when I say a slight ramp, I mean like 2 degrees or something, and you have literally launched yourself out of your chair, and it was just, I really expected you to do a somersault or something in the middle, because it was just that it was just that pristine and perfect. Still moronic, because it was in the middle of a road, so
it was my new chair and my 6-inch front caster wheels that I'm not
you're a bit
quite
shit
used
with
to
those at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I don't like it.
Yeah, I've had smaller front wheels for a while, so I'm kind of used to it, but I still manage to keep managing to keep myself.
I've got to push a 10K race on the weekend. Imagine how many times I'm going to ask it on that.
Can you put a GoPro on so that I can watch
all over putting a GoPro on this. I was actually thinking about that.
Yeah, you should. Like, because I won't be able to record. You might see me like whiz past you at some point. Yeah, bye. Yep. See ya. Yeah, well, because I'm going 42 Ks and you're just doing 10, you lazy bugger.
But I'm pushing it in my day chair.
Yeah, so it's actually easier in your day chair.
And I'm the has-been. You're the current.
No, you're a
has-been.
Re-emerging.
I'm a never was.
No, you're
probably.
That's not true. Who's the Australian record holder here? Come on.
You. No,
I'm not Australian. Not yet.
Queensland.
Queensland, yes.
Yeah, it's me.
Yes, it's you. So anyway,
Anyway.
moron of the day.
I get moron of the day.
So I said I was going to talk about my dad later.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about my dad now.
Excellent.
Christopher, you're going to be moron of the day.
Hello, Christopher.
Okay, you bloody weirdo. Anyway, so let me tell you a little story. I don't know about you either. My goodness. Okay, let me tell you a little bit of a story. So this is something my mum and dad were freely admitting to the other day because they thought it was so funny too. Dad's driving down the road up to a set of traffic lights not far from where we live, and some person has sped up and pulled in front of him, and very, very close, almost causing an accident up to the set of lights as they've turned red. And he's obviously trying to get over the red light in time. And Dad's kind of like, oh, for fuck's sake, you fucking moron. My dad's not one for holding back with the language. You can probably tell where I get my mouth from. And anyway, so this car has pulled up, another car has pulled up next to him at the set of lights. And Dad's kind of like, arms flailing all over the place. Oh my fucking God, I can't believe this moron. He almost killed us. Mum sat in the passenger seat next to him. And he's kind of looked over to the woman who sat in the car next to him going, oh my God, I can't believe it. Now, I'm sure he was actually trying to do it in solidarity with this woman. Like, oh my God.
I can see where this is going.
Oh my God, this moron in front, what an idiot. But what's actually happened is the woman in the car next to him, because Dad is being so animated and flowery with his language, has kind of looked at my dad and given him the middle finger. She's clearly thought that my dad's having a go at her.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So, yes, Dad, I love you very, very much. But you as a...
I'll record that too.
He doesn't hear that often either. You probably need to be a little less animated with your aggressive language when talking about other people, in case women in the cars next to you think that you're aiming it at them. So yeah, apparently she's sped off the whole time, giving him the middle finger as she's going down the road. And my mum and him are just like wetting themselves because it's kind of hilarious. But
does your dad watch the podcast? Listen to the podcast?
Yeah, he does. So he'll hear this.
Excellent.
So, Dad, you're a moron. Just saying.
Good job, Chris. I think it's awesome.
I actually think it's really, really funny, and it's given us good podcast fodder. But
yeah,
you can just see my dad now, can't you?
Oh, look, I've been in the car with your dad, and he's brilliant. It's fun to be in the car with your dad. Like,
yeah, it's a little bit scary too. But yes, Dad, just maybe try to tone it down a bit.
It's nice. But I like it because I'm not the one that has to drive for once.
So true that, and it's usually you that's getting irate in a car. So
I
have to put up with it from you and my dad.
I don't get irate in the car.
Oh, really? Says Mr. Calm and Collected there until you get into the driver's seat. You are like a different human. Are you like it when you're in the passenger seat as well?
No,
it's just when you're driving.
No. Pretty much. When I'm in the passenger seat, it's somebody else's shit to deal
Somebody else, you're like, I don't give a fuck.
Pretty much.
Mind you, you don't get that chance often, do you?
No, I don't. I drive a lot.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Well,
you drive me up the fucking wall. That's what you do.
Well, nobody else will.
Yeah, well, it's not will. I would very much like to, but
nobody
wants me and
There's
my
nobody that wants that
inability to see shit on the road. We've seen the accidents I've had in my race chair, let alone in a car. My God. Anyway, where are we going after this?
Social media takedown.
Oh,
yeah.
Do it then.
Yeah, all right.
I'm
gonna do it.
Social media takedown.
I actually want to know who did that recording of that. Yeah. I reckon it was Zig. I reckon it was Ziggy.
You reckon?
Yeah, I reckon it was Ziggy. We'll have to find out.
Yeah, I can see.
I can see Ziggy doing
Ziggy's
that.
in another part of the production team here.
He's talking. He's looking at us now. He can hear us.
I reckon he could have that nice, deep, gravelly voice. What the fuck?
What was that?
I don't know. It's me taking on my zombie vibe again.
Yeah. Awesome.
So today's social media takedown, we're going to look at. We're going to talk about a Facebook page that I am a member of, and I absolutely love because
you come up with all the great Facebook.
Yeah, I know, right?
Pages to be
It's called People Incorrectly Correcting People, and it's fantastic. And the reason I love it so much is because I am a grammar Nazi, and I'm so willing to admit that I am terrible. But this this group, it's just people constantly calling out other people's shit. So I was gonna grab an example of some of the posts today, but anyway, on my phone, and my phone's doing the recording, so I can't do that.
We'll put it up on the page.
Yeah, but anyway, we will. But it's just basically a page where people post. Screenshots have been taken of posts or memes or whatever, and somebody's made a correction of that person's original post,
and it was wrong.
And it was wrong.
That's brilliant.
And what I love about it is all the arguments that stem from it. Like, oh my God, some of these posts, there can be like hundreds upon hundreds and hundreds of comments from people just arguing the toss. Now, what I find most interesting about this stuff is like how it spawns freaking keyboard warriors.
Oh my! Doesn't take much though.
It doesn't take much, hey. Like a group like this is really good because everybody's about just everybody's there for one reason to
take the piss.
Yeah, but so often it's somebody getting on their high horse and they have got it completely wrong. Like how often does that really happen? Like how often on socials does somebody try to force their opinion on you that's entirely incorrect?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, you've got no fucking clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's just...
It's like any time I write something on a text message and send it to you.
Yeah, I know. I'm back with an asterisk and that's spelt wrong and that's said wrong. I I sound terrible. But
Your-
I do
your
it. I do
sister-
it to wind you up. I do it
Your
to wind you
sister is
up.
exactly the same.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, probably
we do.
worse in some ways.
But yeah, we do it to wind you up
Oh, I
because
know,
it's funny.
I know. That's why I never comment on the group chat that we all have because, I like.
Because you know that when you do, it's going to get corrected.
I love writing. Writing is my jam, and
yes, and you're a great writer.
Thank you.
Are.
I love it. But if I write something, send it to either one of you guys or to both of you or something, and if there's and because I hit send and then realize I've cocked something up, I'm like, oh shit! I hope they don't see that. And of course you always
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Because we both like the whole editing thing.
Yeah.
It just I mean, yeah, I'm a little bit unique and special in that. Unique and special is the nice way to put it.
Yeah, let's go with unique and special.
We say lots of shit about me on here. I sound like a terrible person.
You get me shit all the time.
Yeah, but I say nice things about you too.
Yeah, you do.
occasionally.
I say nice things about you.
Come on then,
sometimes.
say something nice. What you got to say?
I'm glad you don't drive.
I can drive.
Nobody wants
Not
that.
legally anymore, but I can drive.
Every time I say that, you're like, but I can drive. I'm like, there is not a person alive that wants that, Natasha.
No.
There is not.
We both know that somebody's going to get deaded.
No. And when you're in the passenger seat beside me, you do enough driving for the both of us. Fucking drives me nuts.
Yeah, well, if only you didn't drive so close to people in front wheel, I wouldn't need to say anything then, would I, huh?
I'll give you one of my skateboards and you can skate everywhere. How's that?
That actually sounds fun. I'd be good with that. You've got an electric skateboard. And
No,
it's
you're not
so
having
much fun.
you're not having a
Aw.
lecky one. That's mine.
Oh, well, that's boring.
No,
Can I
I'll
sit?
give you Fletcher's little.
That can't even fit my arse on.
I know. Good luck with that.
Maybe I'll just hook myself up to the back of the car and hold on tight and hope for the best.
Sold.
I reckon what would happen though is I'd go over a tiny little rock or stone and it just
And then
knock me.
you'd go flying and
Yes.
you'd be Superman move. Ah. No, hang on. That's the Nokia. That's the Nokia ringtone. That's that.
I'm not actually sure what it was, but I don't think it was Nokia.
Was that? No. So, I can't remember.
Friggin' Mario Brothers or something ridiculous.
There used to be this English skit, and you might know it, and it was a dude that used to carry around, and the skit was just him with his giant mobile phone. And he used to carry this giant mobile.
Yeah, it was Dom Jolly.
Was it? Yeah.
And he'd be like, "Hello, I'm in the library."
No, it's rubbish.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. It's I forgot.
know.
Phone jacker.
Was that? Yeah,
Phone
yeah.
jacker. Yeah,
That was awesome.
that's some funny shit.
That's
some funny shit. I haven't seen that in donkeys yet. That's old, hey.
Oh, I'm old.
That's like beginning of 2000s, maybe even before. Yeah, but probably beginning of 2000s.
Yeah,
I was
that
going to say maybe not before that because there wasn't really mobile phones then.
Yeah,
but
that makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah, it was.
Mhm.
It was probably very early 2000s. I
Yeah,
reckon.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway, have we solved?
we solved the world's problems. We didn't really. Yeah.
Thank you, Rachel, for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you, Rach, for joining
That
us.
was such a cool interview. She's
It was
amazing.
really insightful, and as much as I said here that I'm a wattle nest athlete, the reason we wanted to get her on is because she is trying to make a difference to a lot of people, and I think that. Without building support for athletes and sports in this country, there's really a lack of opportunities for kids at a grassroots level going forward. We need to build the top levels as much as the grassroots levels, and by building at the top, we're also building from the bottom. So
it blows my mind that we can have, take NRL as an example. NRL players that are on, $1 million contracts, couple of $1 million contracts. And then you've got other athletes who are representing our country in other sports who are getting no funding at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we personally know from an athletics standpoint that we know people that are, representing in triple jump and other of the smaller sports that are entirely self-funded, heading off to, and they are gold medalists for our country, and heading off to huge competitions that are having to find the funding for these things. And what we're actually finding, certainly with athletics, is with the bigger competitions, our Australian sporting body is actually setting the qualification standard so ridiculously high because they can't fund anyone. And it's in stopping athletes from being able to compete for our country, people that are not getting the opportunity to compete at an international level, so not getting the chance to become medalists, and it becomes a spiral, and it's a real shame. It's a real shame.
Like Rachel was saying before, athletes are getting to the point where they're 17 years old, they're in their prime, and they're ready for big things to start happening. But they can't continue on because there's no money there.
And I think it can often be hard for people to understand why they should be investing in athletes and athletics and in any kind of sport really. But it's because of the level of, not just physical fitness it offers to people, but community of empowerment to the general public, but the health benefits. There are so many things that our athletes and our sporting bodies are actually supporting and helping the general population overall, even with regards to tourism dollars. There's so many reasons for for sport to be and athletes to be invested in, but it's not happening, and that needs to change because of the effects for the community as a whole is very, very important.
I agree.
Anyway,
that's
us today.
I got to bail because I got school pickup today, and I've got to be there at 3:00.
Yeah, absolutely. So on next week's podcast, we have a wonderful lady by the name of Julie who is coming to join us.
Yes.
So that's going to be really exciting. Julie has been on an incredible cancer journey and has also a bodybuilding champion. So we can't wait to speak to her. And and if you've enjoyed today's podcast, if you
and subscribe, people.
Like and subscribe.
Follow us on socials, please.
Yeah, Two Cripples, One Pair of Legs podcast. You know where we are. Catch you next time.
Peace.
Bye. Well, that's a wrap for this week's episode of Two Cripples, One Pair of Legs. As always, we'd like to thank our studio guests for joining us, and of course to the legends at Podfire for making all of this come to life. If you like what you've heard, or even if we've offended the shit out of you, but you still want to hear more, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also check out our Insta page, twocrips.onepairoflegs, and you'll be the first to know when a new episode drops.